Okay. So that was the definition, and then we come, of course, to the element that, oh, sorry, I have another slide that I kind of kept away from it. So the Stratus jump, although it was actually celebrated as the first attempt, was actually not the first attempt. They first jumped out of a plane with the same suit to test. Yeah, so on a project with that level, you often have at the definition stage kind of already nearly the product ready or the prototype. Yeah, and this has then the effect that you have already pictures from a successful notion or maybe not successful notion before you even have performed the actual delivery. But okay, here it is, the execution level, and this is as well, of course, part of the project delivery. So we don't really look here at the actual refined project delivery. We are still on the frame, if you want, of the overall project lifecycle. So in the execution, we have the definition, control, resourcing, and performing, and then hopefully learning. Again, this repeats itself from last week, but it's as well the notion of planning and managing, and that is extremely simplified. Yeah? So when we come to that stage, you will see you can even separate them a little bit further than just plan and managing. But yeah, this is it, and the execution in that case was as well relying on right weather conditions. So that is what it looked like, a wonderful Stratus balloon with chemical, well, it's, they went, I think, for helium, if I'm not mistaken. And then basically started it, and then you have pictures like that. You know, here you can see marketing was actively involved. Yeah, just the point, the step to come back actually to the planet. And yeah, what did it look like from another place? Actually, this is completely unrelated, but it's a wonderful picture, just to make us aware how wonderful the atmosphere appears to look. Yeah, and it came then, of course, to sorry, I jumped here a little bit. So it was that one, and then he did the step, and then it was after a few minutes that picture. In between, it was a little bit nerve-wracking. Yeah, so good movie makers would have said, like, I couldn't have written the script better. There was a little bit struggling in the actual jump going on, but he actually caught it. And then I am saying here it's a close-out in operations, but again, it's not really. But that was it. Him back on the field, nearly collected as well the electricity lines, which was as well exciting. Again, you couldn't have written a better script, but never mind. So this was basically him back, and media was of course related as well. So this is it. And if you have understood that, then you're safe. It was a little bit unfair for you, so you may have to look back through the pictures if something was missing and you came in like a second too late. But this would be the whole delivery. And the question is, wait a minute, how did it come that we don't arrive all the time at those project deliveries? So something on the way doesn't work out that way. That we actually arrive at that. So what do I mean by that? I mean that in concepts, this is, actually this is not where I live, out of confidentiality, I have not taken my own place, but that is roughly the house where I live. It looks a little bit like that. And our concepts and our designs look a little bit like this. Actually, that is a personal choice. Yeah, so I like the idea of a glass box. There's a lot of criticism around it, but the point being, our concepts don't match reality. And okay, I pick here on construction. This is really nothing to do. It's the same concept here in Nissan down the road. This is how the concept looks. Nobody drives around in those things. I mean, a few people, but it's a prototype. This is what is actually in the shop. Do you see the difference? Here you have glass on top, and you look. It gets really interesting on the motorway, I think, but. This is what we have in the shop, and then the really heartbreaking thing, I think, that is where my personal realization came in, is this is how we traveled in the 80s. Yeah? Can you just point that out? Who knows the facts? How quick would you travel?
4 hours from New York to London, I think.
Yes.
That's Mach 1.5.
Sorry, what did you?
I think it was Mach 1.5.
Yeah. Well, 2,000 kilometers traveling speed maximum 2,400, yeah, which would be 2 Mach, but if you would fly that, it would get exciting in the plane. So, you know, they decided not to do that anymore. Yeah, so this was an option of travel, yeah. How long did it take now from London to New York?
9 hours, an hour.
9 hours.
Has anybody flown Heathrow to Kennedy?
7 hours.
It's 7.5 or something, isn't it? Yeah, so it's more towards the 7. We were faster in the past. This is all I'm saying. Yeah. So next time when you sit in EasyJet, think about this. Yeah. That is kind of the point. Yeah. And here's the frustrating thing: if you fly via Charles de Gaulle or Manchester, yeah, this is your preference. You will see. Yeah. The plane is still there, but it's retired. So this is a close-out dream of a lifetime. And this is when a whole program of planes kind of retires, and it's just sad. Yeah. So that is just a reminder. This is how quick you could have traveled, but you will fly now slow.
There will be another Concorde. Yeah, there will be another Concorde.
Yeah, actually, it's now a new design, and actually Virgin is like really promoting it and trying to push it. Yeah, so one person has recognized the same problem, and I claimed it was me. Yeah? They saw my talk on the World Congress 2012, and they thought like, oh, here's the point. What happened to the speed and acceleration? Yeah, so I think that is really where it's coming from. But just to show you, this was a French version, yeah, in Paris. We have the same. This was just actually taken apart. There's another copy in Manchester, yeah, where you can walk in and have a look how luxurious you travel. Yeah, you had proper space to sit. It was amazing. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Nowadays, this is the quickest answer currently. How quick? Does anybody know?
1,100 kilometers an hour.
So 800?
No, it goes over 1,000 kilometers.
Over 1,000?
Yeah.
No. It depends. Okay. So usual traffic.
It depends on fuel economy and cruising speed, but you can reach over 1,000.
Yeah, okay, that is actually true. So if you have an empty cargo, for example, with a Boeing, they can go faster. But the traveling speed is maximum 950, 960, yeah, and 960 kilometers per hour. Yeah, and I have, of course, the Concorde was somewhere in between, same like the Tupolev. They were like in between luxury and non-luxury. So this is a luxury option, and they go as well 980. But you again, right? They go as well a little bit faster. So that is again if you don't have passengers. Yeah. So this is just to point out that technology doesn't always, or designs, and our ideas don't always concept linearly. That was not the right way of pronouncing it. But the idea is it's not always going forward in the rationals that we have. And there's a reason behind that, and that has been very well researched. It has mostly to do with risk evaluations and incorporating new technologies. And we have there a little bit of a problem. So the incorporation of new technology in a mega project almost ensures that the project will make more mistakes than money. The use of new technology is the only factor that is associated with bad results in all 3 dimensions: cost, growth, schedule slippage, and performance shortfalls. So this is an old report, very, very old, 1988, yeah. But it was actually a report that circulated at the time through the relevant companies that were building those wonderful planes, namely Airbus and British, well, BE at the time. And it kind of like put those programs of planes and designs to the grave, really, sadly. But as pointed out, we have just reinvented this idea and we want to go as well for faster cruising speeds. So again, there's a failure, and the big question: what went wrong? Now, how do we arrive with something like that at the success stage? And we have to go really back and look a little bit at the definition. What is actually success? So let's have a look at that. And this is a little bit fun now as well. So what is success to you?
Happy client.
Happy clients, I like that, yeah? Okay, yeah. So this is already like, I can tell you, you were just reflecting from your project manager experience probably. I take this word personal success, what success means to you as an individual. But I like that, yeah? So happy clients.
Achieve my targets.
Achieving your targets, yeah. Who is defining the targets? You. Okay, yeah.
Delivering the scope.
Delivering the scope. Okay, here we jump again into the project manager mind. I like that. Yeah.
New ideas that worked.
Yeah. New ideas that worked. Okay.
So you've put your own stamp and tried something that worked. It was successful for yourself as well for the client.
Okay, wait a minute. But you made a very important notion. You said it's your spin, right? So there is as well a personal notion of contribution that is important for success. Yeah. It depends a little bit. If you discuss it with football fans, I know a lot of friends that kind of like are very passionate about football, and they are not players. This is all I'm saying. So, and they're still happy about the success. Yeah? So there is a remoteness, but in many projects we want to bring our part to the project as well, and if we integrate it, it's success. Yeah? So the contribution is a huge factor as well. Okay, we leave it with that for now. We actually defined that in a little bit more detail in a wonderful workshop. But again, here the newer version, project success, is the satisfaction of stakeholder needs and is measured by the success criteria as identified and agreed at the start of the project. And here the start really refers to the conception, definition, from conception to definition phases. Yeah? So it's something that we have to facilitate, that clients and stakeholders are first of all as well able to agree on something. Yeah? So if you ask a client up front, and ask, hey, what are your important criteria? There are clients that come prepared. Now they know how to get that, but many will struggle. Yeah? Actually, we work a little bit through that in the seminar, so you will see that it's actually a process. They're different processes, and they make you arrive at something that are success criteria that you can then specify requirements. Okay, another one, to be a little bit mysterious. Success is getting what you want. Happiness is liking what you get. So this is quite cynical. Is it cynical? Okay, I let you resonate on it. Yeah. Then we have as well Nietzsche here. Yeah. So. Friedrich Nietzsche, he had success has always been a great liar, and there's certainly something in it. Yeah? So success depends a lot on time. This is where Nietzsche was coming from. Nietzsche was pointing out that success today may not be success tomorrow. If you look back at it, it may be the biggest defeat. But this is very philosophic. So, but let's have a look at again the more pragmatic side. So this is one of a project that went really dear. Not so much because I knew a lot before about the failure. I have to explain. In Germany we study, I studied civil engineering. This is a lie. I studied civil engineering with material science. And we looked at structures and construction projects from an engineering point of view. And I had heard of this project, but I didn't really know the cost to be there. But they tried new methods and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. So just to summarize, designed by Johan Utzen, won the Pritzker Architecture Prize this week. You have done well for you at that point. The project became World Heritage. It's a city symbol of the capital city. It's actually not the capital city. Oh, I suppose it was a capital city. Yeah, okay, this is ambiguous. Anyway, but most of you will know it really as the Sydney Opera House. And this is really how it looks from the inside. Has anybody been? Oh, good. How were the acoustics? How was the experience?
Good, go for it.
Was good. Breathtaking in comparison to others?
It was good.
Okay. I have to say, like my parents went there to see a play, and they said acoustics were amazing, amazing. Yeah? And they travel around for stuff like that. Yeah? So they lived in Berlin originally, and so they were really impressed. Now here's the thing. Yeah? I've already like kind of framed now this evaluation. You have noticed I haven't talked about the price. I haven't really talked about how long it has taken to be built and things like that. Yeah, but here's another mysterious picture that I found on the internet. And in your slides, you will, if you're not quick enough, we have a technician that works through and looks that I don't copy stuff that I shouldn't copy. So this picture may not be there anymore when you look it up later on this week. Yeah? So if you want to see it, look quick. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So this is again Sydney Opera House. Yeah, fast. Look at it. This is not the normal shape that you would find anywhere. Okay, then another one that is very popular, and again, this is another project that is in there, because normally my colleagues confront you with those. I don't know why. I have not really figured out on what basis the preference was big. I think there's somebody just politically deciding where we look closer. This project, yeah, I didn't like the project, but we should look closer at this. But anyway, so this is another project. Which one is this? It's kind of written on the side, right? But this, of course, doesn't work. On the head. But did you recognize it?
Yeah.
Well, what is it?
It's Eurotunnel.
Yeah, Eurotunnel. So where is this?
Between England and France.
Yeah. Did you know the cities that it actually connects?
Calais and...
Yeah, this is a ferry actually going, but you're right, it's around there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, this is good, yeah. So it's a connection tunnel between London, Paris, and Brussels. Yeah. So this is what it did. A wonderful tunnel project. Yeah. It's just beautiful from an engineering point. But again, not that popular. And then, oh, what could that be? This was in the last 2 years. Has anybody noticed something? Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs Office. Was there something that you noted? Actually, if you haven't lived in the UK, this is an extremely ambiguous question. But if you have lived in the UK, have you noticed anything? Yeah, they have digitalized. And is it good?
No.
Okay. You still you have the PDF, which you have to then print, sign, and you can't scan it in, so you have to then run with a hard copy and hand it in physically. So yeah, there are certain issues. But yeah, so here are a few other projects. So just what can we evaluate them? They all run enormously over time. This is the first observation. But the other one, and quite striking, and that is normally where especially like people from financial services get like itchy hearts, yeah, and like breathe a lot stronger, is when you look at the initial budget that they run off with versus the final account, when kind of the project was delivered. So yeah, just to talk you through, and you know, like this is in different eras. So 2.5 million was a lot more 40 years ago than what it is today. Then Thames barriers, and you can see the multipliers. Yeah, so here we are talking like committed clients, mostly public. Yeah, some are as well. Private, but this is the newest one. Yeah? So the digitalization was meant to be 35 million. This is how much we have actually paid. Okay. So this is unbeaten. Yeah? It's mostly with delays as well. Yeah. So it's pretty horrendous. Yeah. If you don't have tax incomes, and well, there were a lot of issues with this. Yeah. Then. With the Airbus and actually Boeing, they have the same issues. They have new prototype specifications from companies that want it. They do planes that are differently built with new materials, lighter, have different requirements that they need to perform. Here mostly a delay, and this is just the more cost, so I don't have the initial project costs, but that is how much more it has costed them. Yeah? So, and this is like with millions, yeah? So we are here in the billions. Yeah? And so it's quite drastic, yeah? And it has a lot to it. And the other one is the MOD. We had a shift in Parliament, so there were like plane carriers being signed off. And the plane carriers are now just planned really to be run the first 7 years as a consultancy piece. So other countries can rent with their planes basically the space of the ship, because the ships were actually decommissioned. So we have plane carriers and no ships. This is way quite painful. But we still have the old ships that are allocated to other ships. But yeah, so I guess I will shuffle it around and work with the allies, whatever that means. Yeah? Okay, so yeah, so those are the most spectacular in budgets. There are a few more that are even higher. If you want high numbers and trillions and stuff like that, you have to go to countries that do things like that. So America is there. China did do a smart thing. They never actually said what the initial budget is. So they just said the current budget. So they have understood something very deep lesson there. And their infrastructure project is really impressive. And if you want to work on that, on rail or infrastructure projects, they have higher trillions project there. Yeah? And it's a wonderful program, honestly. And they're kind of understanding the dynamics of projects. So from that point of view, very interesting. And yeah, I leave it at that point. Yeah. Then yeah, you can go as well in other large countries, and they run as well over budget. But the question is always, did you have the beginning budget? Yeah, this is you can see that there are ambiguities. Did you want to add anything that shocked you? Yeah.
I was wondering, the Sydney Opera House, the budget is £2.5 million. But like with my job, there's like apartments in London that cost more than that.
Yeah, this is kind of what I said. This is like in the 60s. And it was kind of the price was one in the 50s, so it's a little bit ambiguous. So yeah, you wouldn't get the same plot of land for the same price. So there is inflation coming in. So yeah, so as well, with the Thames Barrier as well, a lot older. Channel Tunnel is as well, quite some time ago. This is recent, yeah. So this is last year. So this is up to date, yeah. So we started off with 35 million 4 years ago, and no, actually longer. 2008, which years today? 6 years ago, yeah. So okay. But and this is as well recent. So you see we are straight away in other numbers. Any other shocking projects that you want to share on the failure notion with us that fascinated you deeply?
Scottish Parliament.
Yeah. Wembley Stadium? Yeah.
It was a big failure in terms of budget.
Okay.
Yeah, it went up to almost 1 billion.
Okay, run as well, completely over budget. And did you know on what basis it was? Were there a lot of changes or?
They had a lot of engineering issues which they had to change. That's right. I don't remember what the case, but it was a failure in terms of budget.
Okay, Wembley Stadium, another one to go on the board, yeah. So we had another one?
Scottish Parliament.
Scottish Parliament. That's the other famous one. I've taken it out now, but you're spot on. Did you remember the proportions there?
No.
It was in the same series like Sydney Opera House.
Yeah.
It was like 12 million initially, and then started stopped
Went up
somewhere
in
like
the couple of
260.
Yeah.
Are these all public sector budgets?
Most of them, but well, here it's debatable. Boeing wasn't. There was private one. And Airbus was as well private. But you see the same, but private investors are normally not honest about those. So you can see that here already, yeah? No, there was a budget that we discovered this in the definition phase. There was a little bit more cost there, so this is normally how it starts.
the bridge between Sicily and the other part of Italy.
Oh, I see. So what are the
Yeah, it was totally failure, and the final account was about 2 billion euro, and the bridge doesn't exist.
Oh, I see.
This is typical Italy.
Yeah. Okay, so 2 billion, this is not, okay. If you compare this, I will throw it in. I'm from Berlin originally. We have an airport, and this is a very sad story. It goes deep with me. And it was meant to be the new one of the new international hubs of Germany to combine all the Berlin airports in one. And it was extended to 3 billion. And this is, by the way, this is informal of the rocket. If you ask now, this is again something that came through the lines because I know the guys that actually supply there and the project manager that got fired. So it's now at 3.6 billion euro. And the new team that came on site, they evaluated with the university how much it would cost to just flatten the ground and start from scratch. And it's cheaper to flatten it and start from scratch and build a new airport than actually doing the changes that they got to implement. So their estimations is now at 7 billion that they will arrive there. And under the voice they say it will probably cost 9.5 billion the airport. Which is a lot, and flattening and starting new would be another 2 billion. So it's a lot cheaper, but politically this has not been yet mentioned by anybody else. But maybe again, the video may actually does the trick. You may read like, oh, there's a new observation. We have realized it's cheaper to flatten the place. So yeah, you could argue there's nothing, and actually destroying will be cheaper than actually doing it.
No, but the works doesn't start. It was only the part of execution.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Okay, so it never came to the
It
execution.
never comes to it. Yeah.
We
We got lots of money for planning, for the definition, but at the end it never starts.
That is actually as well a job for project managers, and I have a colleague in the Association for Project Management, and he has specialized on that. He's an advisor of evaluating projects through the lifetime of estimated costs, and he works a lot with governments, large companies, with SAP and very big companies. And his role is to go into companies and tell them how much it is likely to finish it, or how much it is likely to just stop the project. And there are famous IT projects in America where as well already in the higher billions. So, and they knew it would cost another 4 billion, I think, to run it on. And it was only 1.5 billion to actually reverse everything and go back to zero. And they went for the 1.5. So they reversed everything. It was the same effect. So there was a lot of money gone, and nothing was there to show afterwards. So except the wonderful process. But okay. One last project. Another failure.
Familiar, Barcelona?
Oh,
That hasn't finished yet.
is it
There's no financial control. It just keeps going and going.
Yeah, but
It'd be interesting to see what the final budget would be for that, final costs.
Yeah. So this is the cathedral in Barcelona, and designed by an architect at the time. And
Gaudi,
he
yeah.
knew already that actually, when the design came out, they knew that actually a quarter of the building they couldn't build because they didn't have materials that would last in that structural form. Yeah. And so the city has kind of committed to keep running it, and this materials come in to keep building it. Okay.
I think it's projected to finish in 2034 or something like that.
Yeah, and they still need new materials. There are still things that they cannot really do. Yeah. So this is probably, as a project manager, you may want to think if you take a project like that. You know, this is like a full-time job. This is not, you don't work on projects anymore. You work on that. Yeah, so there's certainly that element to it. Okay, so what can we learn from this? Where the old chestnut is really, and I have as well uploaded you a TED talk to that from a colleague, former colleague. He's now a private consultant. Eddie, wonderful TED talk. I don't know if you've seen it already. he basically brings that point to the forefront. And I want to encourage you to be brave in our world and do that too. Ever tried it? Ever failed? No matter. Try again, fail better. This is the idea. So, this is actually the guys from NASA. So, this is the idea that stands behind it. But Eddie is going a step further, and here's the link. You can watch it on the P as well. So he is advocating smart failure. We have a lot of changing